Well, just going back to last week's game with Marshall, I loved our fans and our students. As I mentioned after the game, I thought it was a great environment. It was fun going out on campus last Thursday and feeling the students' enthusiasm for the season, and appreciate it quite a bit. Really proud of the response our players had to the adversity we had early in the game, and got behind and just kept playing. And I thought we made very good adjustments in both offense and defensive strategies, and took care of the football, which was our first goal to improve on from the following week. Finished with a +2 turnover margin and forced 2 takeaways in the fourth quarter. Second straight game where we finished the first half with a touchdown and a 2-minute drive. So the end of half 2-minute was excellent by the offense 2 weeks in a row. And being able to do that in the Marshall game and then open the third quarter with a long drive for a score, was a 14-point swing in the game. I thought offensively threw the ball around well. The receivers caught it, took care of it. And I thought the backs ran hard. We need to obviously clean up some things with our tracks and some of our run schemes to handle movement and just be able to pass things off like we do most of the time. The backs did run hard. It was good to see Reggie run through some contact, and I think him and Naheem are really good tandem that way. On things we can improve on offensively, the third down offense I think was an area we've been good and didn't do as well as we have. Some of that's getting to more manageable situations because of some of the second longs that we put ourselves in with some of the tackles for losses that happened in the run game. But obvious things that we can find on film and see the reasons why. Defensively, second game in a row, I felt like we really played well in the second half. And challenge now is to start faster and play 4 quarters that way. And, I think the last 5 possessions in the South Carolina game, we didn't give up a score. The second half in this game didn't give up a score. So the guys are adjusting well. The players are getting the adjustments and executing the adjustments, which is something that, sometimes is difficult, especially when you're playing, with different guys in and out in the secondary as we have been. So I was proud of them for that. We can't give up the explosive plays that we did, and they weren't just all deep balls. There was just some underneath stuff where we didn't tackle well in space, and I know those guys will work hard on that, and it's very important in the game coming up with the type of offense we're playing. Outside of the one kickoff return that got called back, I did feel like we improved in our kicking game. We can't kick the ball down the middle and land it on the 10-yard line on a kickoff, and that was something that we worked all week on, was kicking away from 24, who had returned 2 for touchdowns the week before, and that particular kick was supposed to go to the left side of the field to their other returner, and it didn't. That affected our coverage on that play, and all of those things matter. And early in the game, I thought we were tremendous. DeQuay Nichols set the tone with a big hit, and then Raven Saunders had a big hit on the next kickoff, and both of those were tackled inside the 20. So just need to put the ball where it needs to go and leverage it and tackle the way we did throughout the game. I thought Bradley Chubb really played a great football game. Defensively, I thought Jared Fernandez played a really good football game. I was really proud of Tim Glass starting in his first game. Thought he was very solid. Thought he had a great week in preparation, and it showed up during the game. And we were able to get Moorhead back in. We were worried about him from the week before just being tight, and Isaiah started the game because of that and struggled a little bit, and Jarius went in and did a nice job. And I don't think he was, 100%, but I thought he did a good job dealing with missing a lot of practice the week before. Nick McLeod, I thought, had a very good game for us. In second half, we matched him up on number 8, who tore us up in the first half, and I thought he did a nice job on him. Offensively, Ryan, very efficient. I think early in the game he missed some throws and kind of got off schedule and then got back in a rhythm and played really well those 4 straight scoring drives. Kelvin Harmon had another 100-yard game, and Jay Sam not only produced but made some really good plays. That one catch he had was spectacular. Some things I know Coach Ledford and Coach Kitchens and Coach Faulkner are working hard on, to improve our run game. And on top of that, it's good to get Big T back, Tyrone Prescott. This week we'll have Will back, so it'd be nice to get who we thought our starting five would be on the O-line back together to play, which I think will help us not just from an experience standpoint, but from a size standpoint. We're getting a lot taller and bigger and more experienced up front this week. The team we're playing this week, Furman, is a unique challenge for our defense. They're a triple option, not like Georgia Tech, but a lot of similarities to Georgia Tech. Their coach came from Air Force, and they break the bone more and get into some more spread sets than you see Georgia Tech do. But a lot of triple option and what we call belly option and counter trap option schemes and different ways to load your perimeter and misdirect with jets. So defensively, a lot of rules this week that we've got to be sound. And going back to how we've played the option, we only had to play it one time really since I've been here at Georgia Tech, the 1 year. But played it several times at Wisconsin, and I know Coach Hucks has played it several times as well. But it's a unique preparation defensively, and each one of these types of teams you play is a little different. These guys do have explosive passing game that comes out of it. They have a receiver that averages almost 30 yards a catch, 100 yards a game, and a senior quarterback that's very experienced. They've lost 2 close games that played hard in and went for 2 in the opener and lost. Could have been an overtime game, and then came back from a 21-point deficit last week and took the lead and lost at the end of the game. So, I know they're going to compete hard, and they're going to be proud kids that come in here and play hard against us. For us, it's a week where we want to be a better team in week 3 than we were in week 2. And regardless of who we play, that's going to be what we talk about. And that's all we talked about yesterday is what did you put on tape in week 2? What are the things that you're proud of that you want to repeat? And what are the things that you're not proud of that you want to correct? And same thing as a coaching staff. What did we put on tape? What can we do better for our players or with our players to help them? So with that, I'll open it up.
Or here, will you be able to see him play this week, and is your preference to see him before Florida State?
It's kind of hard to answer without practicing yet. We practiced him one day last week, just took him through individual and then stopped him. And don't want to go too fast. Tomorrow will be a good test to see. I don't know if I can answer that really till Thursday. It would be great to be able to play him this week on third down, get him in some passing situations, and let him get his feet wet, let him hit some people and cover some people live before we play at Florida State. But he has not, gone through the entire week like he would to play a game yet. So big thing is we want him to be ready, we want him to be confident, and we're not going to rush the process. So we'll just have to see where Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday put him.
Finley had another consistent week. What are your thoughts on his play and how he's developing?
Like I said, he's just after the first, he missed 2 throws early, and after that he got back in a rhythm. And I think, when Ryan just does what he's supposed to do and doesn't have to do too much, he understands. He's up there studying right now. He understands what he's going to get most of the time, and he can see it. And he understands what Coach Drink expects from him on those plays. I think he does a good job getting the ball to the right people at the right time and giving them an opportunity to make a play for him. He throws a catchable football. So just got to continue to manage the game and not try to do too much. I don't think he has to do anything spectacular. He's just got to be himself and be a great manager. So far, so good.
I should have knocked out all the secondary injury questions with one swoop, but would you prefer Wright to sit out this week and be 100% for Florida State? Dexter?
Oh, Dex? Yeah, he probably won't be back this week.
Okay.
I don't think I listed him on there.
No, and he didn't play last week.
No, he didn't.
And then Valdez is a guy who came in and played, but we saw him go off with the knee injury, and I don't see his name here. So
yeah, he probably won't play this week either.
Coach Reggie had some.
Not yet. Yeah. Well, waiting to hear back.
Coach Reggie had some good runs late in the game. Were you concerned leading up to that? Leading up to that point, he hadn't been real productive. Were you concerned at that point? And how you feel now?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Reggie Gillespie had some good late runs in the game. Were you concerned leading up to that the production wasn't there? And how do you feel now about that?
About Reggie or about the run game?
The run game.
I always get concerned, you guys know I pride myself on being balanced, and I don't care so much about a 0 or a 1 or a 2-yard run. It's the ones that end up negative that I don't like. And same thing with a pass. If we throw a bubble and it's TFL, I mean, I just don't want Drink to be in a situation where he's calling plays on 2nd and 12. And we can't put ourselves in those positions as an offense. So there's way too many of them in that football game. Some of them were due to the run game. Some of them were due to a couple passes we had that were lateral that didn't get out. So, we've got to clean that up because when we're on schedule, we're fairly successful offensively. And, we can get to 2nd and 14 and throw an 8-yard gain, but we're still in 3rd and long, and we can't do that to ourselves. I mean, 2nd and 10, we can get to 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, and if we get it to 4th and short, we can go for it in certain field positions, So we just can't be behind the chains, and a lot of that is fixable, a lot of it. It's just, again, you're dealing with an offensive line that for 2 weeks has kind of had new guys rotating in and out, and that just not as where it needs to be yet, But getting Will back and putting T back at guard will help some of that. But Garrett's still playing in his 3rd college game coming up as a center, So there's some things he can do better, and we need Tony and Tyler to be solid. They made some mistakes in the game that you wouldn't expect them to make at times, and so we just got to clean it up, and I know they will.
Just a quick question on the hurricane again this week. You got some kids from South Florida and from Florida.
Yeah.
Any families affected adversely, evacuated?
Yeah. I was talking to the guys yesterday about it. Sean Boone's ceiling of his house fell in yesterday. And so there's several players that are affected by it. Some of them, their parents have actually come up here. But I think a lot of them, I said that to him yesterday. I mean, I would be, if I knew that there was a storm coming that could knock my mom's house down, I'd be pretty nervous, So just so that they knew that we're here for them, and if they had issues to come see us. And Sean's the one that reached out yesterday, so everyone was safe and all that. But obviously, it's scary.
Have all of them been able to communicate with their families?
Yes. Appreciate you asking. Behind you.
Bradley Chubb and Ryan Finley both talked about staying calm and staying positive after the first quarter this weekend in the post game. Is that something that the coaches are really helping with, or is that something they're doing on their own?
Well, we talked all week about focus and one play at a time and not looking at the scoreboard until all the seconds are gone. And no matter what happens in the game, as long as we play it one play at a time, we can get ourselves where we want to be at the end. Focus was the word that we really spent our time talking about last week, and I think that played into the game in a big way. And I thought Bradley had a moment of leadership on the sideline and coming out into the stadium. Really, I heard him, encouraging Tim Glass in his first start, and then on the sideline when Jonathan was struggling, encouraging him. And I thought all those guys really rallied around each other and just kept it calm over there until we started playing the way we were capable.
With the injuries you've had in the secondary, you've had to move Nick Lacey, who was playing corner, to nickel, and then you got Bryce Banks moving up. Where is Bryce Banks and his development?
It's a good question. He's been rotating with the 2s and 3s all through camp. As you know, last year he played some nickel for us. Bryce Banks did. And so we've moved him back to corner going into the season because we were concerned there. We didn't know what we had, coming into the year with Jonathan moving over. And really he's been thrust into that starting role quicker than we expected. We knew Nick McLeod and Mike were going to be kind of what they are, and we're trying to figure out the rest of them. So Bryce is a guy that plays with really good fundamentals. He's got good length. I think, just the little things of the position have gotten easier and easier as the weeks have gone on. This is an opportunity for him this week to be in the 2 deep and show us what he can do in practice every day. He's been splitting reps out there. Chris Ingram's a guy that's going to get put up there too. And he's been really impressive for a freshman, and some of the things he's done on special teams have stood out. So I'm excited for both of those guys. And Nick Lacey can play corner, safety, or nickel. Like mentally, he knows it all. And so that's an easy thing for us to be able to do and not have to start over teaching someone. We've also trained Brock Miller and Jermaine Pratt, so we feel like we have good options at that position if something would happen where Boone had to move back to safety.
Free safety with Stephen Morrison. He hasn't had a lot of playing time.
Just on special teams. Yeah, but he was in the 2 deep last week as well because Dexter wasn't practicing, so he's gotten some work back there.
Kind of a rough game against South Carolina with the fumble. Steph Lewis has a big impact this week. What did you see from him in this game?
Well, he knew what his errors were. I mean, he fumbled twice in that South Carolina game. One of them was while he was on the ground, so they didn't call it a fumble. But, our goal as an offensive player at the end of every play is to hand the ball to the official. We want to be able to show that we didn't fumble a football no matter what happens. And Steph worked hard last week on ball security. I thought the offensive staff did a nice job changing up some of their drills to make it more competitive, and they really worked those kids. We always do a takeaway circuit against our offense, but sometimes when you do the same thing over and over, it gets mundane and monotonous, and I thought they did a nice job making it a little fresher, a little more competitive last week, and we'll continue with that theme. But Steph's a proud young man, and I think, it hurt him that he hurt the team with a fumble, and obviously did a nice job making up for it. He had a great run on that screen where he ran through contact. And, it's like any week when you make a mistake, the teams are going to see the mistake and they're going to try to come after you wherever your weaknesses are. And so Steph knew he'd have to do a great job, and he did. And he's just got to build on it.
In your years of coaching, you've seen a lot of spectacular catches, but where does Jalen Samuels' triple tip laying on his back catch in front of the bench rank?
Yeah, I didn't get to see it live. I was blocked, my view was, by the officials. So watching the replay of it, it was a pretty special play. And I don't know, out of all the plays I've seen, it was very, very impressive football play by him, and doesn't surprise you really with all the things that kid's done. He's got an incredible skill set.
2 games, and do you anticipate him having a prominent role over the course of the rest of the season?
Joe's playing hard. He's making a lot of rookie mistakes at times, and I think all these reps are going to be valuable for his growth. I see him as our 6th man right now that Will's back and can pop in at center or guard in a heartbeat at either right, left guard, or center. He's a guy that we would trust to go in there and play hard and compete. So, proud of him for what he's done, and I know both of those games are going to help him in the long run. All right, thank you guys. Have a great day.